In 2003, the world watched in awe as billions of tons of sand and rock were poured into the Persian Gulf to create the impossible. A map of the world made of private islands, visible from space. It was supposed to be the ultimate playground for the 0.1%, a $14 billion statement that Dubai had conquered the ocean itself. But today, if you look at the satellite imagery, the dream is dissolving. The world islands are not a playground. They are a graveyard of ambition. The sand is shifting, the tides are reclaiming the coast, and the most expensive real estate project in human history is literally sinking back into the sea. While the Dubai PR machine continues to promote the next shiny skyscraper, they are desperately trying to make you forget about the $14 billion currently resting on the ocean floor. The Titanic of the desert has hit its iceberg, and this time, there aren't enough lifeboats for the investors. In this investigation, we are uncovering the classified bathymetric surveys that prove the islands are eroding, the secret lawsuits from stranded billionaires, and the terrifying environmental cost of trying to play God with the ocean. Before we reveal the underwater reality of these sinking islands, I have a very important favor to ask of you. It takes exactly 2 seconds of your time and costs you absolutely nothing to hit that subscribe button. But for this channel, it is the difference between surviving and disappearing. By subscribing, you help the algorithm recognize that these deep dive investigations matter. You help us bypass the filters that try to bury the dark side of the Gulf's development and help us keep this channel independent and monetized. It costs you nothing, but it helps us expose the truth. Thank you for your support. The World Islands Project was the peak of Dubai's hubris. 300 private islands shaped like the continents, sold to celebrities and tycoons who wanted their own slice of France or Australia in the middle of the Gulf. But building on water isn't like building on land. To create these islands, developers had to dredge 300 million cubic meters of sand from the ocean floor. This disrupted the natural currents of the Gulf, creating a stagnant, salty mess where life cannot survive. But more importantly, it created an unstable foundation. Without a natural bedrock, where the islands rely on a process called vibrocompaction, essentially shaking the sand until it stays put. But the ocean is never still. The constant pressure of the tides combined with the rising sea levels of 2026 has turned these compaction zones into sinking pits of silt. Recent independent maritime surveys have confirmed what the government has been trying to suppress. The channels between the islands are clogging with silt, and the islands themselves are losing height at an alarming rate. In some areas, the beaches of these private paradises have receded by more than 10 meters in just 3 years. The ocean isn't just touching the islands, it is eating them. When you build an artificial island, you're fighting a war against entropy. Every day the waves pull sand away, and every day, the gravity of the massive luxury villas pushes the sand down. It is a mathematical certainty that without constant multi-million-dollar dredging operations, the world will vanish. The financial collapse of the project is just as deep as the physical one. Out of the 300 islands, only a handful have actually been developed. The rest are barren piles of sand, slowly being reclaimed by the waves. Investors who poured millions into the world are now finding themselves trapped in a legal and geographical nightmare. You can't sell an island that is disappearing. You can't build on a foundation that is shifting. The secret lawsuits currently filling the Dubai courts are a testament to the scale of this disaster. Billionaires are suing developers for breach of contract, claiming they were sold a permanent asset that is turning out to be a temporary sandcastle. But why is this happening now? The answer lies in the current disruption. By placing 300 obstacles in the water, Dubai accidentally created a series of eddies and high-velocity channels that didn't exist before. These currents act like a sandpaper, grinding away at the edges of the islands. To stop this, they built a massive breakwater, but even that is failing. The breakwater itself is sinking into the soft seabed, allowing more energy from the open sea to hit the islands. It's a cascading failure of engineering. The more they try to fix it, the more they disrupt the balance, and the faster the erosion occurs. This isn't just about the world. The Palm Jumeirah, the iconic crown of Dubai, is facing the same sinking reality. While the palm is more developed, it suffers from the same fundamental flaw. It is a foreign object in a dynamic ecosystem. The stagnant water in the fronds of the palm has become a breeding ground for bacteria and algae, and the cost of pumping that water to keep it clean is astronomical. But beneath the surface, the sulfate attack we discussed in previous reports is eating the seawalls. If the seawalls fail, the sand that supports the multi-million-dollar mansions will wash away in a single storm. The residents are living on a knife's edge, supported by a system of pumps and filters that could fail at any moment. The mega project they want you to forget is a warning sign for the entire Dubai model. It proves that you can't just throw money at the laws of physics and expect them to change. So the environmental impact is also reaching a breaking point. The dredging required to build these islands destroyed the local coral reefs and seagrass meadows, which were the natural protectors of the coastline. By killing the environment to build a nature-inspired luxury project, Dubai removed its own shield. Now, the city is vulnerable to every storm surge and tidal shift. The nature artificial is proving to be a fragile, expensive, and ultimately doomed experiment. In the second half of this investigation, we will look at the secret abandonment plans being discussed in the halls of power, the specific islands that have already disappeared below the low tide line, and why the real estate boom in Dubai is a race against the rising tide. Sir, we will uncover the true cost of the dredging ships that have to work 24/7 just to keep the palm from dissolving, and what happens to the global insurance market when $14 billion of assets are officially declared lost to the sea. The ocean is coming for its sand, and Dubai's greatest icons are the first on the menu. The secret abandonment of the world islands is perhaps the most expensive cover-up in the history of civil engineering. Behind the closed doors of the Nakheel offices, the conversation has shifted from completion to mitigation. Internal reports suggest that the cost of keeping the entire archipelago above sea level for the next 20 years would exceed the original $14 billion construction cost. This is the dredging debt. Every single day, like massive specialized vessels must move thousands of tons of sand just to fight the natural erosion. If those ships stop, the map of the world begins to blur. We have obtained satellite data showing that the South America and Asia sectors of the project have already lost nearly 15% of their total landmass since 2018. This is land that was sold for tens of millions of dollars, now literally dissolving into the salt water of the Gulf. The sinking reality is also creating a massive legal dead zone. Because these islands are technically artificial structures, many international insurance companies are refusing to categorize them as land. Instead, they are being treated as maritime vessels or offshore platforms, which carries a much higher risk and a much higher premium. But for the few developers who actually built villas on these islands, the cost of insurance is now eating their entire profit margin. This is why projects like the Heart of Europe have faced so many delays and financial restructurings. It's not just a lack of interest, it's that the very ground they are building on is considered a liquid asset in the worst possible way. Furthermore, the rising sea levels of 2026 are turning this into an existential race. While Dubai's mainland is protected by massive infrastructure, these isolated islands are out on their own. The Breakwater Failure is a silent catastrophe. The massive rock ring that was supposed to protect the world islands from the open sea is settling into the soft seafloor faster than expected. As it sinks, it allows larger waves to overtop the barrier, creating a washing machine effect inside the archipelago. This constant turbulence keeps the sand in suspension, preventing it from ever settling and accelerating the erosion of the private beaches. The billionaires who bought privacy are instead getting a front-row seat to the power of a restless ocean. This brings us to the environmental karma. To build these islands, Dubai had to sacrifice its own natural coastline. The seagrasses and mangroves that once stabilized the seabed are gone, replaced by millions of tons of loose sand. This has changed the chemical composition of the water, making it more acidic and more prone to red tide algae blooms. These blooms not only kill what's left of the marine life, but also create a foul smell that permeates the luxury villas. You can build a 5-star resort, but you can't control the smell of a dying ecosystem. The artificial paradise is becoming a biological nightmare, and the high-end tourists are starting to notice. The mega project they want you to forget is a lesson in the limits of petrodollars. You can hire the best engineers in the world, you can buy the biggest dredging fleet on the planet, but you cannot stop the Persian Gulf from reclaiming its territory. As the global economy shifts and the real estate mirage of Dubai begins to flicker, the funding for these massive maintenance operations is at risk. If the subsidies stop, the world will be gone in less than a decade. It will become a series of underwater hazards, a warning to future civilizations about the cost of extreme vanity. The investors who are still holding these assets are desperate. We are seeing a surge in shell company transfers, where the ownership of these sinking islands is being passed to offshore entities to avoid the massive cleanup liabilities that are coming. When the government finally admits that the project is a failure, the cost of removing the hazards and restoring the seabed will be in the billions. No one wants to be the last one holding the bag when the tide finally stays up. In the end, the sinking islands are the perfect metaphor for the current state of Dubai, shimmering, expensive, and breathtaking from a distance, but structurally unstable and ecologically devastating upon closer inspection. The city of the future is being defeated by the most ancient force on Earth, the sea. The $14 billion sandcastle is melting, and no amount of PR can stop the water from rising. Right, if you found this investigation into the sinking world eye-opening, please hit that like button. It's the only way to help this video fight the algorithms that favor the perfect Dubai narrative. What do you think? Should they keep spending billions to save these islands, or is it time to let the ocean take them back? If you've ever seen these islands from the air or worked on the dredging crews, share your experience in the comments below. The truth needs witnesses. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, because in our next video we are going to expose the secret debt that is currently holding up the Burj Khalifa itself. You won't want to miss it. We'll see you in the next one. Stay grounded while the world sinks.